All right, welcome to your Divine Awakening live training. So today we are going to be focusing on Song of Solomon, basically paraphrasing, but it's basically around the fact that you are beautiful as you are. There is nothing wrong with you, and so you are flawless. And I think this is so important for us to look at, especially when you go through disruption, especially when it's with a loved one. You can have that tendency to think that there's something wrong with you, or that you've done something wrong, or that somebody else is better than you, especially if there's infidelity involved. And trust me, because I've been there. And you're looking at everything about yourself. Why aren't you enough? Why aren't you what that person in your life wants? What could you do to change? You're looking at your flaws, and there's a part of you that's so angry and righteous about it, but then there's also that part that's really scared that maybe there is something wrong with you, and that's why this all happened. And it's a back and forth. It's a tug of war, and it makes you crazy. And so today I wanted to bring you forth the supernatural message that I received for you around this, because as I said, it can drive you crazy. And if something is niggling at you and driving you crazy from the inside, it's interfering with how you're showing up in life, for your life. If you're a mom, how you're showing up for your kids. If you work, how you're showing up at work. I don't know about you, but when I was going through this, I couldn't focus. I couldn't focus at work. My work suffered. My friendships suffered. My relationships with everyone suffered, because I was so self-absorbed in thinking about what was going on and what was wrong with me and what I could do to fix it. And it was just endless cycle of tormenting thoughts. And so I wanted to bring forth to you today something that would help you to understand the truth, because it is a big truth. First and foremost, you matter. And I really want you to hear that. Let it land. You matter. Everything about you matters. Your life matters. And that's where we want you to really gain an understanding, because once you understand that and you accept that and you're really grounded in that foundationally, whatever circumstances are going on around you will not have the same impact to pull from you, create distraction, and pull your joy, pull your true essence. When you're really grounded in the truth about who you are, and that you're absolutely flawless as you are, then that's the place from which you can make wise decisions about your life, that you can walk tall and you can walk proud. And I believe anybody going through disruption, it's really important to have that foundational grounding. And that was what's going to help you move through your life and be able to stand tall and walk proud. So I want to share with you again the supernatural message. And basically, it's a very powerful message, as it always is, because whatever God wants to share with us is always powerful. He starts with saying, you must know in your hearts that there is nothing wrong with you, based on the Song of Solomon. It says, you must know that's true. I designed you with perfection to please my standards, not man's. Therefore, anything anyone says or does out of alignment with this truth of who I designed you to be is out of line, period. End of story. Let that sink in, because I know so many of us, myself included, when someone very important to you is no longer in your life in the way that you want them to be, anything that is said, you can take as the gospel, really. And that's not what God is saying here. God is saying that anything said to you other than what God is saying to you about who you are is out of line. Take your cues, he goes on to say, take your cues from me, not a lonely, tarnished man who has strayed from his faith. He is justifying his actions. You are a beautiful rose, unfolding daily with your sweet fragrance that is uniquely you. Don't turn your back on me to please the likes of your betrayer. Please no one but me, and watch your world turn right side up. I know who you are. The gifts inside of you, I put them there. You are a pearl, a gem, a sleek woman made to endure by trusting my path for you. So then he goes on to give us 3 points of how we can align with this truth, and 3 things that he wants you to really take to heart and really listen and hold in your heart as the truth, so that next time anything comes up that has you questioning who you are or feeling flawed about who you are, that you will pull from these truths that are specifically given to you from God. First, he says, you are made to endure. So tap into my strength. Your weakness is not a flaw. So many times I find, coming from the New Age era myself, all of this talk about, oh, you're strong. It's all about what you can do in this body. It's all about you. And what I came to realize when I came to faith was that, yes, it is up to us to grab onto strength, but we don't have to do it on our own. That's the beauty of having faith. We tap into God's strength, and there is no other strength like God's strength. It's supernatural. We in the flesh cannot produce that. And so he's saying, weakness, it's not a flaw. We're all, because we are in the flesh, we are not perfect. Only God is perfect. And we cannot even attempt to be the same. However, he is there to lend us his strength whenever we need it. And that is not a weakness. That's a strength, to recognize that you need that strength and that you need to tap into it. And it is within you. It is within you, because remember, you are a spark of God. There's that light inside of you that is your spirit, your essence, comes from God. So you are that, and it comes from God. And so you have a direct connection to tap into it. And don't ever forget that, because it's there for you 24/7. Don't look outside yourself for that strength. This is so empowering for you. Secondly, it's 2 parts, A and B. 2A is prepare to release whatever does not bring you joy, whether it be thoughts or patterns or habits. And most of us, all of us, have lifelong patterns, decades of patterning, decades of programming, decades of thoughts that don't serve us, decades of habits that were formed from the thoughts that have created the life that we currently are living. And so he says that these thoughts and patterns and habits are ways of being that have held you hostage for years, if not decades. Release them if they do not support your view of yourself being wonderful. Let them go. And that includes false pride and arrogance. You know, sometimes have you ever met somebody who seems to have this air about them, that they're all about it? And what he's saying here is that that is literally the flip side of insecurity. So insecurity shows up in one of 2 ways. It shows up in that we are kind of trembling, not sure of ourselves, not confident, or it shows up in an overconfidence, an arrogance. But both are, the root of them is insecurity. So he says, you know, that includes false pride and arrogance, which are flip sides of insecurity. Just be you. is what he's saying. Just be you and accept your limitations and hand them to me. So in other words, instead of recognizing that there is something that isn't as strong, a trait that you would love to have that maybe you have not grown into or matured into yet, instead of pretending like you have it, to turn it over to God so that he can help you mature in that area and up level your character so that when you do embody that trait, it will be pure. And I hope you let this land. When you're trying to be something you're not, that people feel it. There's an energy to it. But when you are solid in it, you're not trying to prove anything. You're not trying to be anything other than you, and it comes off a whole different way. So that's what I got from this. Now, the second part of 2, the B part, he says, is change your perception on the things you can't control. Be open to change. Change is inevitable. Not always something that we are comfortable with, change. And yet there's one thing that we can be certain of, and that is that life is constantly changing. It doesn't stay the same. And if we don't move with it and change with it, then we create our own suffering. So change, disruption, when things are turning upside down or crumbling around us, is God's way of giving us the opportunity to grow into being more of who he designed us to be. That's not always comfortable. I understand that. And I go through the same challenges as you do, because we want everything to stay the same. That's our comfort zone. To do something different, to try something different, to really step outside of what we already know is not comfortable, and it can cause fear and it can cause hesitation. But what those things do is they keep us stuck. And so tap into God's courage. Ask for his courage and his boldness. Ask boldly for those things that will allow you to move forward and to change, because that is where you're going to find your happiness. Have you ever tried something new, done something that you were afraid to do, and then when you did it, there was just this sense of relief as well as a pride that, wow, I did this? That's how we build our confidence. That's how we build our confidence. Staying the same is never going to create more confidence. It's always about taking that next step. But the great news is you don't have to do it alone. You have the power within you, the strength within you to ask for whatever it is you need in order to have that boldness. Now you have to take the step. God can't take that step for you, but he can be with you. And together, holding hands, he'll jump with you. You just have to ask for that support. He says, let yourself be fed by me, not the world. What's important to your growth is a standard of excellence determined by me, and not your boyfriend or your husband or even your pasture. Believe in the veiled truth. That's what I teach. It's not something tangible you go to school for. It's a way of being that supports the growth of humanity. The beauty I've bestowed upon you feeds the community in untold ways. It's your kindness, your compassion, and the love of others that's important in the long run. Not how many accolades you acquire or strive to attain. You know, it's interesting. I was watching a movie last night called Beyond Death. And it was an account of 4 people who had had near-death experiences. They went to the other side. And one of them was talking about how she had this life review. And she had 2 life reviews. One of them, showed all the things that she had accomplished in her life, the graduating from school, college, getting married, having kids, all the things that she considered her accomplishments. And then the next life review, she got really nervous about, because she thought, oh my gosh, I've made so many bad choices. Now they're gonna, God's gonna show me all the ways that I've screwed up, and I've, she just had all these thoughts about how now she was going to be punished for things that she felt she did wrong. And to her total surprise, that wasn't the second life review. The second life review for her was all the things that she had done that were acts of kindness. She was shown a time when she was, I think, under 10 years old, and she was visiting a convalescent home, and she had been engaging with an older woman who was there, and sharing something really sweet, and the kindness that she showed this older woman, and just how it lifted the spirits of this older woman. She was shown how she had rescued dogs, and the kindness of that, and compassion that she'd shown to other people. And then she was told, those are the important things to God. That's what he's looking for. And that we have it backwards here on this planet. And that's why we can often feel like we are flawed. When we look at other people, we compare ourselves to other people, what they've accomplished in our minds, what we think is important. But truly, what God is saying is important, who he designed us to be, who he designed you to be, is just to tap into that kindness, that compassion, and that love of others, doing for others. And that's what in his eyes gives you the most value, not the accolades. So it's important for us to flip that and to gain that new understanding. It's not about coveting what others have, he goes on to say, but it's about showing up for others. It's who you are at the root of your creation, a beautiful, kind, tolerant human designed to give to others in need, not just monetarily. It says kindness goes further and makes a lasting impression. And when I heard that, it reminded me of a story one of my mentors shared about how she was in school. She was what the teachers and the principal would consider a problem child. She talked too much, she got into trouble a lot, and she didn't feel like her chances were great. She was a Black girl in an all white, pretty much, school, and she felt like there was a lot of racism and things going on that caused her to be acting up and not caring. And then one day, one of her teachers, Mr. Agar, I think his name was, she said, she had been talking and acting up, and he took her out into the hall, and he very firmly but very lovingly said, why are you acting like this? You have so much potential. You have so much to give, so much in who you are to really show up differently in life. And she said it was the first time somebody really showed belief in her. And I do believe that God has angels on earth that help us get redirected into what's important. And so for her, from that day forward, she understood that doing things for other people, being kind, really tapping into who she really was, that's what was important. And that's where she started to focus on what she could do to be contributory to the world. And she went on to make really great grades, which allowed her opportunities to learn, and to then go into, she started when she was just a teenager, to go in to talk to children at different schools and teach them about self-esteem and how to lead themselves, and how to stand up in a way that they were born to stand up in. And she did this all charitably, and it touched so many lives. But that's who she became. This is because of this understanding that that's who she really was at the core of her being. And so stand tall in knowing that you were born for a reason, just like my mentor realized. that you matter, that your life matters, and who you touch matters. Everything about you and the way that I made you, God said, has a purpose for humanity. It's way bigger than just you. You are a part of a developing world that's ultimate goal is love. You are part of that. So go, instead of thinking that you are flawed, stand tall and proud, knowing that every inch of you is an important piece of the overall grand masterpiece that I am designing. You are more than enough. You are more than enough. I'm going to say it again because I want it to land. You are more than enough. You are made to perfection. All the thoughts that you have about yourself, all the deceptions, all the lies, all the confusion, those are not of you. So yes, God is saying you want to work to eliminate those things, to let them go, to release them, however that is for you, whether that is coaching or counseling or talking it out or whatever it is required for you to release those things, because those are the things that are flawed, not you. Who you are at your core is perfection. God designed you. How could it be otherwise? So he says, again, you are more than enough. Delete, let go of, and rid yourself of all the lies you tell yourself about yourself. They are just that, lies. He says, I love you just as you are. So go forward in that knowing that, as the Song of Solomon suggests, you are beautiful. You are flawless. You are made in perfection. God designed you. He doesn't make mistakes. You are part of a bigger masterpiece. It's up to us to get out of our own way, to really be foundationally grounded in that truth so that we can move forward, show up as ourselves with the love and the kindness and the compassion. And that is what is going to help you have a better life, turn things that are upside down, right side up, have a ripple effect on those around you that will grow even greater and gain momentum, because the people around you who have that opportunity of receiving from you, that will affect their lives, and they will then have a ripple effect that will go out and it will gain momentum, really impacting the world in such a beautiful way. And right now, this world needs all the love it can get. And it starts with you understanding that that is who you are, that God loves you so much. That is your truth. Whatever else you've been telling you is not. Whoever else you've been listening to is not, if they're telling you something that is not of that. You are love and you are loved. So today, adopt that, adapt that, let it soak into every cell of your body, go out and stand tall in that knowing. And I want you to think of something right now that you can do, that you can say to yourself, whether that be, I am love, I am loved, and that is my truth. And from this day forward, I will stand tall in the knowing that this is true for me, and I will show up and be a part of this world's truth that God absolutely wants us to live into, and that is love. All right, thank you so much for being with me today. I do not take lightly that you have given your precious time to be with me, and I so appreciate you. Have a beautiful, beautiful day. If this was helpful for you, please like it. Love you very much. Bye for now.